Started. Thanks for being here. We're going to go through topic 13, which is more around, business savvy and really around really kind of embracing artificial intelligence and how it's going to change your life, in your career span. So that's where we're heading with that. So just another reminder about the test number 3. It's scheduled for 7 p.m. sharp. It's only going to run once on April the 16th. It's run through the registrar. And again, you need to be ready with your respondus lockdown and webcam capability. So test that well before the test. And again, what's really important are these commentary PowerPoint presentations, right? Along with the Robbins eText PowerPoints. So you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters that you should go through. And again, they're in the folders of the, topic 9, 10, 11, and 12, right? The practice tests, again, are located, it should be topic 12. This is a mistyping. And one thing to understand too is that the participation activities, even in topic 13, are covered by the test. So it's really important to understand, 13A, all right, of what you had to do there in terms of AI. All right, then it's always important to go through the Blackboard slide decks of 9, 10, 11, 12. And also, if you need more detail, go to the video presentations in the Blackboard, and there's always the course e-text that you can survey. And again, you access this test in Blackboard topic 13. This is what the link looks like, April 16th, 7 p.m. Okay, so again, it's the only scheduled time for the test. It's near the end of the term. The marks have to be tallied. And so there's very little room to maneuver after that particular date. So I just wanted to make sure that you know about this. And again, it's 50 multiple choice, mainly multiple choice, some true and false questions, and the duration is 80 minutes. Okay, so that's where that is. And again, here's all the information about, getting ready for the lockdown browser. If you have a Chromebook that you're going to use, make sure that you do all the testing, because the platform doesn't treat the Chromebooks as well as it does every other, like PC and device. So that's where that comes in. And there's always a library that can help you get things going if you need to maybe get an extra machine signed out or whatever you have to do. Okay, so what we're looking at here in participation topic 13A, it's a group team exercise. And you're required to brainstorm. And again, it's a 2-part table, right? The top 10 uses of artificial intelligence in management, and then a brief reason for each selection. And again, that's, to make sure that you've done some critical thinking about that. You know why you're going to do that. You know why it's important. And if you check out the slides from about 83 to 89 in this particular presentation, you pretty well have all the information you need to do this, all right, as a group. So it shouldn't take you too long. The next post is what you need to do is kind of read the instructions here. You can see where all the participation comes in. We're really talking about, this bonus of 3 marks. And this is where the Pearson Revel surveys come in. And what you do is you take a very simple sample screenshot of each survey that you've done and put that on one PDF, and you upload that, in 13B to be able to get your 3 bonus marks. And then there's some a little bit information about what surveys you can use to make up the total. I'm asking you now to do a post-assessment survey. So it's an actual survey, so you need to submit it. And it was due yesterday. So in case some of you have not put it together, I'm going to be going through that in another 1 or 2 days to pick up any stragglers. But that's the link, and you go into that link, you do the survey, and then you submit it, and you should receive an email confirming that it was received. And then the assignment 4, is now it's starting. I'm starting the marking. I started marking today on assignment number 5, and you should be seeing these marks come through in the next little while. Here's one. This is the assignment 5 that was due on Monday as well. and that I'm marking right now. So that's where that is. There's a team group member performance evaluation survey, and this is optional, really. But I'd like to garner information around you evaluating yourself and your peers to get a sense of how things went on this project. And now, I sent you this email about, writing, and I think I've made many comments about how it's so important to be able to be a good writer, and so that you get, people can understand what you need, and they can you'll be a lot more successful. And the thing is, it's your superpower, and this paper really kind of covers what you should look for, and within the article itself, you can see many of the points that I've been asking for in terms of numbering your points and showing examples and determining why it matters and those kind of things. So this is a really good article to take away, and I'm sure it'll help you in the remainder of your program, and it'll certainly help you as you become a better writer in the success in every endeavor you choose to get into. All right. And then another one is that this article, I think I gave you an idea about what's going on here, but I think this is the most compelling statement that I've ever seen, is that AI won't replace you, but someone using it might. All right. So that's how do you, that's really the crux of it. But look at this, by 2030, AI is projected to displace 92 million jobs while creating 170 million new ones. So this is the World Economic Forum that's reporting on that. So it behooves you to really understand AI and get up to speed on it. And if you can take courses on it, that's great. But there's always ways of getting through that. In terms of applications in that Flipboard I use to find out what's the latest on AI that comes in. And that's why you're getting some of these articles that I find. But the question, is that AI will change people's jobs, and the whole mantra is manage AI or be managed by it. I mean, that's what you have to remember. There's a link here to that paper. I'd ask you to, to really look at that article when you can. Now, here's the thing: is that why it matters. Canada itself is facing a cost crisis and a productivity problem. Its productivity is dropping every year. And the thing is that in 2022, Canada's labor productivity was 28% lower than the US figure, 18% lower than the G7 average. So what does that mean? It means that our competitive position as a nation has been weakened. And when that is happening, then trade is suffering, and when trade is suffering, our Canadian standard of living just lowers, it suffers as well. So those are the kind of things that you really need to understand. So I'm going to present to you a lot of information that was provided by the Business Development Bank of Canada on especially for small and medium-sized enterprises, and which really a lot of you are going to find yourselves in that kind of part of the of the economy, and just to really get a sense of what's going on, and how the adaptation of AI is just relentless right now. It's going crazy. All right. So here's the thing. So larger, small and medium enterprises are already adopting AI technology to a very significant degree and seeing advantages. Although finding the right AI tools can be complicated, and you got to make sure that you find the proper AI tools that will help you, based on the industry that you're in, based on the business that you're doing, and based on the environment that you're working through. And it could be complicated and very costly, especially for smaller businesses. But the thing is that if you don't adapt as a smaller business, you'll find yourself just put out of business because of the way the competition is going to change. So investing in these tools can really help you improve efficiency and your competitive advantage in the long run. So that's the key message around this. And AI is a worldwide phenomenon. The rapidly improving technology It's making headlines every day, and it's widening its scope of use. So it's not going anywhere. And I wanted to show you, the rise of ChatGPT. You have a look at this graph, okay? In terms of, even, it crossed 1 million users in 5 days after its launch. And look at how it's grown to, well above 60 million users, in today's world and as of March 23. So it's really totally on the rise. So it's just inevitable. And the thing is that Canada's businesses have to improve their efficiency. Like I said, we have a national problem, an international problem to remain competitive and face these rising costs and lagging productivity. And you can see some statistics that I've provided. Larger and younger firms have higher AI adoption rates. So larger SMEs, 86% adoption rate. Young firms, 78%. Micro businesses, 60%. And you can see these older firms, 25 years and older, 48%. So, it may behoove you to, get into an older firm and, take them to, modern times, so to speak. Here's another thing is that, just to show you where we are, this is the Canadian labor productivity. It's decreased level since 2000. So since 2000, Canada's dropped, 5.6 percentage points in productivity. So that's terrible. And you can see that, Germany, France, Euro average, Australia, the OECD, they've increased. So that's that's where we need to be in terms of productivity and lowering our costs. So in simple terms, what is AI? So let's talk about that. So AI refers to machines or computer systems, but they simulate human intelligence processes and such as reasoning or making decisions or solving problems. And its ability to quickly process and analyze massive amounts of data. So big data, and I'm going to show you a slide, about big data as well. It's becoming more and more prominent because AI can handle it, and you can almost get in a lot of cases you can get predictive and prescriptive around what you find in this big data. It gives you that much certainty to be able to operate in the economy. And so some examples is personalized recommendations on a shopping website, or voice assistants, or image and speech recognition programs. We're going to talk about that a little later as well in terms of what they call NPR, and then apps that provide driving directions. So it really enhances tools and creates opportunities. So controls costs, increase sales, eases labor shortages, and navigates uncertainty by improving forecasting. I'm going to talk about forecasting a little bit as well, because that could make or break a business, monitoring inventory and optimizing resource allocation. And, I keep on talking about, inside capital, and the cost of inventory being sometimes up to 65% of the costs. So that's really important, and AI can really help you get there. Okay, so here's some adoption rates, and you can see that the larger SMEs are higher than the young firms, and the older ones are lower. So that's we talked about, but there's really 4 classifications that BDC makes, the bank, the Business Development Bank of Canada, and has really kind of set segments. So the enthusiasts, the explorers, the curious, and the laggers. And that should tell you something as well about who's in the business and what they're doing. And the thing is that the gap in AI use may widen between large and small SMEs as well. So here's AI use today, 86% of largers use in 2026 is projected to be 95%, and 60 to 65 in micro businesses, 26 to 30. So that really gives you a sense of what the adoption rate is all about. And then we talk about AI generative tools. So what are generative AI tools? So it's really tools that can do things like significant media coverage or provide multiple uses or chatbots and those kind of things. Those are generative type tools, and that's key. But what's going on as well is that online advertising tools and specialized automation and translation services are becoming more and more available to you. So that's where we're at in this piece. So larger SMEs use more specialized and complex tools, and so to do chatbots and AI-enabled tools for optimizing production, forecasting sales, recruiting employees. So you can see that it has a vast array. And here's some slides that you can look at to get a sense of, what's going on in terms of what the larger SMEs are doing compared to the all SMEs. You can see that they're way up ahead in the various types of services that AI is being integrated into. Okay, percentage of SMEs that started using AI within the last 2 years. You can see that this is in less than a year, 59%. So you can see that that there's been a big move, and then between 1 and 2 years. So that the adoption rate is there. That it's not going away. So how much did it cost? Well, that's another story, right? So most businesses, and this is Canadian data from the BDC. So 62% implemented AI for less than $5,000. The thing is that you don't have to buy the big computer or the big piece of software. You rent it, and I think that's where it makes it an even playing field for competing. And overall, the low cost of implementing AI for many SMEs gives you many out-of-the-box AI tools that are affordable. Most businesses do not build costly custom solutions, and businesses rely heavily on existing employees to implement AI, and firms allocate limited funds. So that's where that is. So here's again some more statistics. 62% of SMEs spent less than $5,000. And then 56 of SMEs spend less than $1,000 per year. So that's the piece. But the message is, look at what Olivier Girard says. We really had no choice but to change the way we did things as the industry evolves. You got to stay in the game, right? So what limits AI adoption in Canada? So know what you're up against if you go into a company and you want to build AI capability. Unfamiliarity with the different AI options. And there's more and more options coming on board every year. So you really need to keep abreast. Uncertainty about AI tools, how that fits the business. You don't want to have a misfit application that's really not going to pay off for you. Lack of awareness of the tool's shortcomings, because AI makes mistakes. We're seeing that. And we're seeing a lot, at least I'm seeing a lot more articles where people are testing different AI softwares against other AI softwares, asking them questions, and then promoting how they failed to answer the question or got it wrong. And then lack of awareness of their current AI tool shortcomings, concerns about data privacy and security. And again, that's where we get into the whole ethical and social aspects of corporate social responsibility and doing the right things right to make sure that AI is used in the right way. All right, and then cost of implementation. So those are the limits in Canada of what's going on. And here's that statistically, shown about that for this slide. But the thing is that 97% of these SMEs, reported that it delivers benefits, improved customer service, increased growth, business growth, better forecasting, more effective marketing. Okay. Although AI has helped businesses solve multiple problems, the results seem to fall short of their initial hopes. So people were looking for a little bit more, and then here's what they were looking for. But in essence, 35% of businesses have implemented a chatbot to help reduce costs. 61% of businesses are satisfied with their AI-enabled chatbot. So that tells you something. Again, this is Canadian data, and it's it's national data that it's going through. So a little more on implementing a chatbot. Here's some tools for optimizing production activities. 49% of businesses using AI to optimize production activities. It increased sales or production. 65% of businesses are satisfied that their AI tool for optimizing production activity. So it's a really, a lot of good stories here. But here's what's going on. This is a Gong report. This is the link to this report. But what it's saying, though, is that while specific statistics on business failures, and this is the point that I'm trying to make about how important forecasting is. In poor forecasting, studies show 80% of companies miss revenue forecasts. And this is a large study, this Gong report. So it just goes to show you that if you have AI helping you be a lot more correct on your forecasting, you're going to be a lot more successful. I mean, accurate forecasting ensures informed decisions, reduces the risk, maximizes profits. So Starbucks uses it, for demand forecasting to optimize inventory. McDonald's uses it, and they do it by they go back on their reports and the store knows during each sort of time interval what to expect in terms of demand in their location based on historical data and then some algorithms taking into different considerations. So this it's here for it's here now. And then here's some more information on more of the implementation costs for forecasting sales to see where you need to go in terms of what you need to spend. And then you need, for easing labor shortages, 22% of businesses using at least one AI tool say it's reduced hiring needs. So there's kind of things that are really beneficial for that. And the thing is one way AI can help your businesses handle daily administrative tasks. They can write email responses, summarize team meetings, manage customer cases, generate marketing messages. So it's all there for you. So it's a big, effective way of getting the most or leveraging your customer relationship management system. If you've got the right kind of AI driving, the conditions for it. So it will help you realize your vision. So what the thing is that using AI, the answer lies in knowing what problems you have to solve. And the thing is, I get back to knowing how to produce your problem statements to really get a sense of what is it that I need in AI to be able to be successful in my industry and my business, and knowing that. So the 3 tips: assess your business needs and objectives, adopt this data-driven culture, because big data is here to stay, and it really can get you beyond predicting in terms of how competitive you can be with actually getting there with the right with the right forecast, with the right type of product or service offering, and then you learn about different AI options. So it's there for you. So I wanted to kind of emphasize this big data analytics, how important it is. So here's a link, but just take heed of these stats here, right? So big data analytics are an integral component of modern business, and companies like Amazon and Marriott, they're there already, right? And this actual article outlines, the big data analytics, how big data analytics are crucial to business striving for success. And here's the numbers, right? In 2023, it was estimated at 307 billion US dollars, and now they're looking at, $924 billion by 2032. So it's got a compound annual growth of 13%, so that that this is here to stay, and that if you can get into this and learn how to use it for your operations, you're going to be in a really good competitive position. Okay, so here's the main issues now. Let's just talk about the main issues. There's really 2 ways of looking at AI. One, as a tool, right? And that's where you have human control. It has specific tasks to deal with. It's transparent. You can measure the performance. You can see what it's doing, and it gets the thing done. But where it really gets different is when you use it as an agent. All right, and why? Because it's self-learning and it has a degree of autonomy. And then all of a sudden, this autonomous decision making can get a little out of hand. You don't really know where AI is going to take you. It can make decisions and take actions without direct human intervention. So you really need to understand that, right? You need to understand how it's going to be, how you put up the guardrails for it to deal with complex tasks, and how to deal with checking in and on a regular basis to make sure that it's going to work right. And an example, I mean, Tesla's still struggling with self-driving cars, right? There's certain things that the cameras can't translate through the AI to the car brain, that it's something that the car needs to react to, and they that needs to improve as we're going through. But also that's where the social and ethical issues really come in when you're using AI as an agent. And that's where your leadership is going to come in, to be able to make sure that things are getting done the right way for the right reasons, for the right outcomes, and socially, environmentally, and from a profit point of view. So the thing is that control. Tools require human control. Tax complexity. Tools handle specific, often simpler tasks. Transparency. So control, task complexity, and transparency are the three things that you should work to understand when you're dealing with AI. So you'll be making these kinds of decisions in your career lifetime, and understand from an AI's agent's features on what it does. Really understand what kind of issues that you could possibly have to deal with. So here, poor management decisions in the use of AI, just a few of them. So data and privacy, security risks, bias and discrimination, financial losses, decreased employee morale, customer dissatisfaction, regulatory non-compliance, operational inefficiencies, innovation stagnation, and then when you're using it as an agent, all these others, I won't go through them, but this is here, for your benefit. And I would recommend that, you make sure that you save this this presentation to be able to guide you when you get into, your new career. So here's some things that I took out of, articles like Forbes. 2020, North America has witnessed a significant growth. You could see that, by 2030, China, its AI is going to make up 26.1% of China's GDP. North America, only 14.4%. And you know what's dragging this down? Canada's productivity, all right, as part of North America. Because if you take Canada out of the picture, I think this 14.4 goes to 21%, right? So that's really what we're dealing with here. And the thing is that the applications are just they're mushrooming, right? There'll be multimodal AI, smaller language models, and open source advancements, graphic processing units. And again, understanding as well that AI, big data, is going to consume a lot of power, and there's going to be more demands. And right now, I just got wind of people are getting away from the silicon chips because they heat up and they're not as efficient. And gadmium, is the key rare earth that's going to help bring the power requirements down and all those things to make AI more efficient. But look at all these portions of where AI comes in terms of model optimization, accessibility, customized local models, data pipelines, all those pieces, more powerful virtual agents, and then regulation, copyright, and ethical concerns are just going to be tremendous. There's going to be a lot of pressure going on there. Not going to talk about that. Okay, so we talked about what is, but let's talk about the skills that are needed, right? So you as a business practitioner, your strategic thinking is going to come in to mind. Your critical thinking is going to come to mind. Change management is going to be just a key requirement because of all the transformation that it's going to produce in terms of who's going to be out of a job, who's going to come into a new job, how are the management operations going to change and then ethical decision makings, addressing those implications. So the thing is that, in terms of your skills, you're going to be leading AI projects and driving innovation. You're going to be balancing AI benefits with ethical considerations. So they're the things, building AI solutions. Well, a lot of it's going to be left to the AI professionals in terms of but you need to understand, program languages and machine learning and algorithms and data engineering. And here's, my experience. So when I was doing a lot of business process improvement, really, we had IT people that were building the systems to build the improvements. But I needed to understand how they got things done. And I needed to understand how to describe the business needs so that they could get things done. So you still need to know a little bit about programming languages and how it goes, how it's, how these people are using them and what they need in terms of input, machine learning algorithms, what people need to be able to build those algorithms, and then how to prepare and clean data. So, you need to know, how data is going to be, the requirements, what the data requirements will be to be able to be processed and those kind of things. So again, the expectations, you're developing custom AI applications, you're solving complex business problems. And this is where you come in if you've got that level of skill to be able to, guide this and manage it going through. And then preparing for future business. So, I can't say enough about big data analytics. You need to understand what it's all about. You need to understand a little bit about the mathematics in terms of, the probability and statistics that these algorithms have to deal with to be able to give you, information accuracy from a prescriptive point of view. And then data visualization, like communicating findings effectively. So you need to be able to interpret AI results. You need to collaborate with data scientists. That's really what you need as a, as a piece. So let me just see here. I'm gonna just, okay. And then, creating AI solutions, same thing. You need to know a little bit about deep learning and neural networks, problem solving, business acumen, to be able to, be part of the team to innovate AI-driven products and enhance customer experiences. And how will AI change business roles? Well, a lot of automation, that coupled with robotics is going to change the whole way that things get made in the world, decision support, new job roles, and then people that are displaced by robots or automation. How are you going to upskill them and keep them in the in the loop? Doing that. So again, here's some pieces around evolution of management principles and theories. So data-driven decision making, agility and flexibility, enhanced human collaboration. Those are all pieces that are going to go into the new quantum level of management principles that you're going to work through because AI being what it will be the disruptive technology of the day, right? It's going to upend everything, and it'll be when Apple brought in the iPod. It put the music industry on its ear. Well, so you could just imagine what AI is going to do, to a lot of industries. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about that, but here's something for preparing for the future, about where you can find, know more about continuous learning, adaptability and resilience and collaboration skills. And so at the end of the day, managers need to focus on ethical AI implementation, talent management, and fostering innovation. And workers must prepare by embracing continuous learning to stay, part of the solution, developing adaptability, enhancing collaboration skills. So together, all these changes will drive towards a more agile, data-driven, and innovative future. So, that's the whole piece around that I wanted to get across in terms of AI. But now let's just talk about some of the pieces that tie into AI. So one is NLP. So that's natural language processing, and it's a subfield of computer science and AI, and it uses machine learning as well to enable computers to really understand and communicate the human language. And the thing is that these chatbots, that will take on voice and talk to customers and find out really, query them on what they need. They're just going to get more and more effective, more and more accurate in terms of doing that. So NLP is just this crucial area of work because it bridges the gap between human communication and computer understanding. And the whole idea is that it won't be long before you have an AI agent, be it a robot that has that software inside of it, that you will be working with to be able to to do your work in your new modern position. So it's coming, and so that this NLP just it enhances applications like virtual assistants and translation services and sentiment analysis. We're getting into the emotional part of interpretation there, customer support. So it's going to be there, and just so that you know about it, and that's where you should really get a sense of what's going on. And this was, you could see some of the information in the Blackboard, slide deck as well around NLP. Okay, so getting ready for this future, learn the basics, stay curious, collaborate, and remember that ethics are going to be a big part of what's going on. And then I get some references here for you that you could take through. But the whole thing is that AI will redefine management in the workforce of the future, and we are in the future. And the thing is that you can see this acceleration of change, because there's a development. Every day we learn something new about what what they've discovered or what they can do. Okay, that's just a little more specific on what's going on. But again, I take you back to where we are in the the evolution of management principles. And remember, I said that we started at productivity, and then we went to learning, and then with then contingency, and then now AI is going to take us into the age of, if we don't have empathy, it's going to fail. So empathy is a powerful and often underestimated force. That's what we have to see it as. It's found its place in the heart of modern business management. And oh, by the way, not everybody sees it that way. I just read something about Elon Musk saying that, empathy in North America is a weakness. And I'm not so sure if Elon really understands, how empathy is going to be used in terms of, AI developments. And so that as organizations evolve, they recognize that success isn't solely about profit margins and productivity.
I totally agree with you, sir.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, did you want to say more, Harvey?
No, please continue.
Yeah. Okay.
I just thought that that is something very powerful you told, and I needed to appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks for your comment. So as organizations evolve, it's about fostering a culture that values people, relationships, and understanding. So it's a key part of what, who we're going to be and how we're going to, really be good ancestors for the generations to come. And that's what's going to make it work. But here's, more information on how empathy influences our business landscape, like employee well-being. Empathetic leaders understand employees. They need to come to work and feel fulfilled. They need to feel part of the shared vision. This customer-centric approach, the fact that we care for customers allows businesses, to step into the customer's shoes, right? Innovation and creativity. Well, empathy fuels innovation because you want to do something, for the good of nature, in terms of, self-actualization, that's where Gandhi was in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You're doing this because it's good for the world, right? conflict resolution. Empathetic leaders seek common ground, right? Ethical decision making, well, empathy guides these ethical choices. So it's really important. Adaptability, well, empathy helps organizations adapt gracefully, right? So no one gets left behind, I guess, is one of the mantras, right? And diversity and inclusion, well, empathy will dismantle barriers, because I just, I just read another article about trying to understand other people, that are, this won't really resonate with the facts. They've made up their mind. Like there's this saying, don't confuse me with the facts. I've made up my mind. And why? It's because they're so tied into their identity, right? We're getting so tribal in the world. And empathy allows us to really try to understand that other point of view, find that common ground, and work from common core values, to solve things together. And you can't convince people otherwise unless you really get to, that layer of understanding using empathy. Okay, so it isn't a weakness. Empathy is a strength, all right? And as we embrace empathy, we redefine success and one human interaction at a time. And that's where, it's going to come into importance. So here, this is slide 83, and here's the answers basically to 13A. So, pay some attention here in terms of, what are the 12 important benefits of AI. So, it lays it all out, better decisions, efficiency and productivity, improved speed of business, all these other things. So that's where you're going to get it. And you can see some really good examples of industry specific uses. Like healthcare is really going to get a leg up on what it needs from AI. Financial services, it's pretty well, it's established itself already, but going to get more and more rigorous. Industrial maintenance, well, it'll save millions of dollars. So I'll give you an example on industrial maintenance. So I worked in the power business, and I worked in a coal-fired generating plant. And what we had to do is we had to plan a shutdown outage to fix everything. And what we would do is we'd spend 6 months planning, and then we'd be shut down for 2-3 months, doing the repairs to make sure that the power unit was reliable. All right. Now with Internet of Things, and I'm going to talk about Internet of Things, but Internet of Things, all these devices that can censor what's going on, you can actually now predict, when a piece of machinery is going to fail. To a really good extent. So you can imagine that, it won't be long before, power units don't really shut down, and they're designed accordingly where they can go in and have some redundancy where they can change different parts and run at higher levels of reliability and save millions and millions of dollars in operation. So industrial maintenance is a key area. Transportation, we will be in the age of self-driving vehicles and different devices that way. So, there's a lot of good examples. But where will the big impacts be? Well, naturally, education. And you're going to see big changes in the next 5 years. AI is going to be transformative. Students will receive educational content and training tailored to their specific needs. Healthcare, and like I said, it started already, but from a diagnostic point of view, it's just going to be amazing because AI will go into the knowledge and experience of all the doctors that have been their experiences input into the system in big data, and be able to come up with this complexity of navigating and getting down to the right diagnosis and the right amount of treatment. Finance, well, credit score monitoring, fraud detection, financial planning, insurance policy matters, customer service, it will all be taken care of with this NLP, right? Natural language processing, because it'll be interactive. And AI systems will also be used to develop more complex and and rapidly executed investment strategies for large investors. So it's coming. Law, you can see this. AI systems do the work that would require 10 to 20 lawyers in the past to do it more quickly and more effectively. Chatbots, provide rudimentary summaries, but by 2028, the number of human lawyers in the US could be cut by 25% or more. So you can see what's going on here, right? Transportation, we talked about autonomous vehicles. And then here, again, to help you with participation 13A, 15 applications of AI business, what it can do for you. But let's talk about you, right? The next generation manager. So you'll have to treat intelligent machines as colleagues. I mean, you're going to have an AI agent. I'm telling you right now, right? And you focus on judgment work. So on judgment work, so you've got to be a good problem solver. That's why we talked about problem statements in this course. You need to have critical thinking. You need to really understand why this matters, why this is going on. You need strategic thinking in terms of the world is full of scarce resources, and how do you maximize the use of scarce resources to get to the outcomes based on your organization's vision. So that's all a part of the judgment work. The thing is that AI does real work, and you do the key engineering in terms of the imagination of what needs to do, and AI will do all the administrative tasks. All right, you hand that off, and then you collaborate digitally across all boundaries. All right, and you work more like a designer, right, than an actual doer. So those are the kind of things that you need to keep in mind, as you're going through. So now we're going to switch gears again, and we're going to talk about management information systems, and that's because of it all ties into big data as well. But there's all these functional systems that are so automated now. If you look at CRM, ERP, SCM, so CRM is customer relationship management, and again, that's now AI driven, and it's going to be more and more AI driven. Enterprise resource management, that integrates all the systems in a corporation, in an organization, and you can have a real-time view by everyone that's tied into those systems, and get a sense of all the interdependencies of what's going on, with all the key performance indicators and targets shown and where the performance is, so that you can actually customize individual plans to be able to look at different deficiencies in the system. And then supply chain management, is a discipline unto itself, and I'm going to talk about that in a little later slide, but talking about the cryptocurrency and the cryptology of information in terms of the use of blockchain to be able to make supply chain management so robust. All right, right from raw materials going into a product to where it goes in various parts of global destinations. So the thing is that MIS is, it has business intelligence, it has functional systems, it's all a system of networks, it had a database management and a combination of hardware and software. So that's what that's all about. And it requires extensive use, in terms of information going through. So businesses invest in IT, and why? Well, operational excellence, develop new products and services and new business models, to provide, increase customer and supplier intimacy, to improve decision making, and again, the key thing, having competitive advantage, and in a lot of cases, just plain survival, so you could stay in the game. So those are the drivers for all of this going on, and just understand that it's all about input, it's all about processing, and all about output. So all these stakeholders have a way into seeing how this the information can be of service to them, and it's all integrated. So the roles of people and organizations, information systems literacy. So you need to show or understand the behavioral and technical approach. You need to have a bit of computer literacy. I talked about, my own application where working with IT people, I needed to understand how to develop the best, business descriptions for them to kind of develop things. Management information systems, you focus on a broader information systems literacy. And the whole idea is that, information systems are more than computers. It involves, it ties in the organization with the technology and the people. And oh, by the way, I mean, that's the formula, for competitive advantage, by the way. All right. Okay. And so that, I'm not going to go through these people, these few slides. Let me see. And yeah, I think that's okay. So let's talk about those functional systems a little bit. So know what customer relationship management, CRM, is all about. I said I'd bring up the supply chain management a little bit more, but sharing of purchase orders, sales data, shopping notices, and then what, I talked about ERP. But here's the business intelligence and analytics. All right. So in my day, all right, I would look at data and find out, what was going on. If I could predict what was going on, I was really happy. All right. And the thing is, using, predictive analysis, with the information that I had in my marketing jobs, it was very limited. But you take a look at what AI can do now. AI will take you all the way through to being prescriptive. Recommend actions and strategies based on champion challenger testing strategy outcomes, applying advanced analytical techniques to make specific recommendations. So you can see where, things are getting more complex, and they're of greater value, in terms of data analytics. And that's really where AI is going to take us. Just an advertisement, here's, an example of business intelligence software, on what it can do for you. What you should understand, going forward, in your careers, how do you do data mining? So you start with data sources. You've got to gather that, you model, what's going on, and then you deploy the models. And the whole idea is, the more that you can have just one integral database, data warehouse, the better off that you're going to be in terms of reducing data corruption. And in my day, there was different sets of data everywhere in the organization, and it didn't really talk to each other. And then there would be errors, based on, different corruption in the data banks itself. So, this is all, where we're going. And ERP systems, real-time data sharing, streamlined processes, improve decision-making, and customized plans, like, in terms of doing, replenishment, or doing repairs, or all those kind of things that, to deal with any kind of deficiencies. All right, I'm not going to talk about that. I talked a little bit about that piece. So I just want to get you to understand, how blockchain and logistics is coming together, right? And I think, we're at the age right now, with what's going on in the US or whatever, there's a big dent going into global trading. But I firmly believe that, economists show that, because of comparative advantage, global trading will continue to grow. We're just in a blip in history right now, I think, right? And to understand that, if you look at global trading, the advances in supply chain management, through blockchain and logistics have been incredible over the last 5 years even, right? If you take a look at, what IBM and Maersk, one of the premier shipping companies in the world, have come together in a joint venture to build blockchain capability, has really started a whole wave of organizations looking into blockchain. So what is it? It's a method of recording information, makes it possible and difficult for the system to be changed, hacked, or manipulated. So the thing is, it's immutable, can't be changed, and virtually anything of value can be tracked or traded. And if you take a look at what they call Incoterms, and what Incoterms are is that the various guidelines that are used to ship and receive globally, right? And knowing where something is and who owns it at the time, and when a shipment gets transferred, somebody gets paid right away, all right? And it's all done, in this, a way that it's total transparency. So it's an amazing technology, and it's something that you should be aware of. Is why I'm bringing it up. All right. So you can see this. A transaction is requested. A block, and that block of information is can be the cryptocurrency along with cryptology of information so that it can't be compromised. And then that block is sent to every node in the network. So everybody on the network sees what's going on. And then the block is added to the existing blockchain and the transaction is complete. So that's really how it works. So total transparency, allows tracking ownership history, which is really important. I go back to look up Incoterms at some point in time and you'll understand what I'm talking about. And then, pinpoint a product's exact origin, automate the purchasing process, facilitates the tracking of purchase orders, changes, receipts. So here's an example, right? So you might have a refrigerated container that's, came to a port and the refrigeration unit has failed. Well, a signal goes right out into that system, that network, saying this has failed, and there's immediacy in fixing that so that the products inside the container are not compromised. All right, so those are the kind of things, and all the paperwork. We say paperwork. This is how old I am. All right, so all the transactions now are all there. Everybody sees them. So this is kind of what it kind of looks like from a piece. So now I just this is sort of the last piece, I think. Let me see, we're getting close. And I want to talk about the Internet of Things, IoT. All right. And I have to admit that when I first saw this, a couple of years ago, I didn't know what it was. And what it is, it's something fantastic. All right. So what the Internet of Things is, these are a collective network of connected devices and technology. All right. And they facilitate communication between these devices and the cloud. And so let me give you an example of that. There's what they call it precision agriculture. So in the Internet of Things, you have sensors that are measuring the soil pH. You have sensors that are measuring, along with AI, measuring the weather and predicting, the weather. You have sensors that are monitoring the actual growth of the plant and detecting different things. So what then you have is you have this immense increase in capability and robustness in agriculture. And this is everywhere. Like, this is one example of what can be done. And the thing is that what I've learned is that the Internet of Things applications in North America are doubling every year, right? So this is amazing. And that's why AI is so important, because, it will be the glue that really kind of brings this all together. So again, IoT, it describes devices with sensors, processing ability, software, other technologies that connect and exchange data with other devices. So it's just an amazing piece. All right. So here, here's a crazy example. An IoT application for college students is a smart dorm room. This system can include smart lighting, climate control, security features, all accessible through a smartphone app. And students can adjust the lights, the temperature. All right. So right now, I have a security in my home system. All right. I can. It's cameras. It's motion detectors. It's door and window contacts. I can do it all from my smartphone today. I hook this up through my existing security system in the home. It's just amazing what can be done now with IoT applications. And so really, this is the whole piece. There's hardware involved, and then there's the connectivity. So, you need a lot of broadband, you need a lot of, high broadband data, high broadband mobile, and then different applications. So software, building and support systems. So it's a really big deal. All right. And you can see that, the hardware part makes up about, 29% of the investment, whereas the applications, 61%, and applications are coming out every hour. Okay. So get used to it. All right. So IoT connections will reach, 252 billion in by 2030, and in the U.S. So that's just amazing. Blockchain, I talked about blockchain and IoT. So now you can use blockchain to, make the information from IoT that much more secure and transparent. And so that you can streamline operations, you can automate routine tasks, you'll gain efficiency and productivity, enhance your decision making, so from data-driven insights and business intelligence tools. So I mean, the world is your oyster here. You can see where this is all going, right? And if you prepare yourself, you'll be one of those, the premier or the top elite performers in that top 20%. And if you get yourself ready, you can really carve out a great living and a lot more kind of meaningful work, in your future. Okay, and that's about it. That's all I'm going to leave you with. So I've enjoyed doing this course. I've received a fair amount of feedback from everyone. It's been encouraging, and I thank everyone for all the kind words. And I wish you the best. And I'm hoping that you're going to prepare well for this next test. Test number 3 is worth 20%, so that you have a chance now with the same amount of studying to get a better mark, right? Because you know the system and how that's working, and I hope I've helped you understand, what was important. But I wish you all the best in your careers, and I wouldn't mind hearing from you, especially if some of you, get into any kind of AI forum or career or whatever, send me the odd email. I'd appreciate hearing from you. Okay, take care, and I'm going to stop the recording now.
So this is officially the last class, right?
It is. It's officially the last class.
I would like to thank you for the amazing instruction you have given